All right. We will
You
now.
told us to. You
Yes,
said
I
say
did.
something.
We will now commence with the button pressing.
Buttons, buttons, buttons.
Button. Who's got the button? I do. On multiple devices. Because I fixed my desktop today.
Barely. I mean, not barely, but...
I have regaled the story outside of the recording. I will not commit it to the recording right now. However, I will continue to insist that I have only ever set a computer on fire once.
And it was not today.
Yeah. There may be a day where that number changes, but it was not this day.
Thankfully.
It makes for a great story afterwards. It was not a great experience when it took place.
Yeah.
But no failure is complete if you learn something from it, and I learned several things that day. Hello, and welcome to Pack Tactics Season 4. This is a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign using a lot of Spelljammer stuff and kobolds. Everyone's a kobold. Yeah, there's two little marks in front of the word kobold and also after the word kobold. Don't worry about those. They're air something. I'm assuming because you're on a flying ship a lot of the time, it has a lot of air going underneath it. So that's why they're there.
Everyone on the ship except for Maury is a kobold. Some are cultural kobolds, and we won't talk about the person in the crow's nest. Obviously, he's a kobold. Just look at him. And, I mean, Papaki. Papaki's a kobold.
I'm not a kobold.
And Utashi.
I'm Crash. I'll be your DM for the evening. And tonight, I'll be joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Beth from ElizabethMcCoy.com, Ellie, EO, who I have it on good authority that EO's mom writes books, at ElizabethMcCoy.com. We do not have a Jen this evening. Jen is feeling under the weather, but Jen has a blog at bookofjen.net and a podcast at shatteredsoulstone.com. Now, yes, I am putting the plugs in at the beginning. We're still going to put them at the end, too. But
you cannot escape.
We have changed the format for the podcast. Pray we do not change it further. What happened last time?
People turned into things.
Yes, this was a preventable thing. But no failure is complete if you learn something from it. What may have been learned this time was if there is a puzzle or locked door, and you have a rogue who is of any level, but in particular, a rogue that's level 8, let the rogue do it.
But the rogue was busy. So of course the clerics were doing it. It's just a puzzle. How hard can it be?
Well, fun fact, Utashi and Papaki both have the same bonus to sleight of hand. But
see? It's perfectly logical.
But you'd have to understand the fourth wall in order for you to have realized that. Anyway, yes, you found a ruined tower. The reason why you found a ruined tower is because you were given the task of attending a week of etiquette training to prepare you for an upcoming meeting where you would be ambassadors. Bapaki and Monty were morally opposed to attending a week's worth of training on etiquette. Mm-hmm. So they left in the wee hours of the morning. The rest of you were along for the ride, and there was a storm. There may have been some people who went overboard, but they're all fine now. And when you came in for a landing, you found this tower that had the top gone. The top fell off. It was pulled out of the environment into another environment, possibly, but it's not in this environment. It's not in the environment. If you went up the stairs to where the tower stopped, you got a creepy vibe. When you opened the door, you found a couple of rooms in the basement. One had a whole bunch of machinery, wires and tubes and stuff. The other one was a living quarters with a bed, the corpse of the previous tenant. The previous tenant's name was not David. That's a different tenant. And it turns out this person was alternatively calling themselves the Seeker or the Searcher, and they had built this to try to reach other worlds. All the machinery that was in this tower. The tower was pre-existing. They just said, well, this place is out of the way. I'll set up shop here. In doing so, over however long this took, their morphology changed, but they never really succeeded in reaching out other worlds. The characters might know this didn't happen because of what was going on at High Temple, where an ongoing ritual was being performed to seal this world off from all other worlds, at the behest of the dragon gods who didn't want any competition.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody stopped that ritual.
It was bad for people to be doing it anyway. It was bad for them. It burned out priests, so we did them a favor, really.
Well, I'm not blaming anyone here. The person who actually did the thing is off being an ambassador to the kobolds,
right.
Arguably having the time of her life. It's fine. No one's blaming any of you.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, the Jinn told her to do
We're
it.
all fine here. Right.
So.
That's the real person here. The real culprit here.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did all that after you recovered from springing a trap that magically polymorphed a bunch of you into animals. You got rid of the temporary hit points from those animals and turned back into kobolds. Definitely all kobolds. And after
Story removed curse from Longkept, so Longkept did not have to suffer.
This is also true. And right when we ended it, the suggestion was being made that everyone should get back on the Shrike ship, and then from a distance, someone was going to cast a spell magic on the tower, because the tower is still being creepy.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that still the plan?
Sorry's up for it if no one else thinks it's a bad idea.
Maury's okay with it. Monty is still sleeping.
I think it is likely to be a bad idea, but it is a bad idea that I am willing to observe.
We should probably wake up Monty just in case we have to take evasive action. We don't want to drop him out off the nest.
How do you wake up Monty?
Sorry is perfectly happy, unless Bapaki wants to do it, to stand at the base of the pole that holds up the Monty nest and call Monty loudly for a while. Probably Mr. Monty or Monty Sir, honestly.
So we hear the log sawing rumble that is a Monty snore. And then when there's the intake of breath, we hear Mr. Monty. And then we hear the log sawing rumble of a Monty snore. Mr. Monty! Mr. Monty! Mr. Monty! I'm not going to make the actual snore noise because I don't think my throat can handle it this evening. But give me... I need to look at your character sheet to decide what skill I'm going to ask of you.
If this is a bad idea or not.
Give me a performance check.
Let's use a performance. Okay.
I have
a nat 20.
A nat 20. So while Monty is complaining about just needing 5 more minutes, Longkept, what interesting thing are you choosing to do? Augury.
I have the Astromancy Archive.
You do have the Astromancy Archive. By casting gem inlaid sticks, rolling dragon bones, laying out ornate cards, or employing some other divining tool.
I assume the archive is itself a divining tool.
It is possible that when it was part of a Shrike ship, that was not a purpose that was intended for its use. That was kind of a redundant sentence, but regardless, this is a thing that you can probably do. You receive an omen. If you retrieve an omen, I'm a little concerned. If you receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about... If you retrieve an omen, you come back from Blockbuster with the VHS tape. Movie night, everyone. Who got the popcorn? You receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. DM chooses from the following possible omens. Good results, bad results, a possible combination of both, or nothing. You get nothing. You could have gotten a red snapper.
What?
Yes. The spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as the casting of additional spells or the loss or gain of a companion. Oof. If you cast this spell 2 or more times before completing your next long rest, there is a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first that you will get a random reading. The DM makes this roll in secret. Now, that part is not coming into play at this point. This is the first time you're casting the spell ever. So what is your question?
What does the archive think about dispelling magic on the tower?
So the archive was essentially included to be a type of star chart, if I remember correctly. It's a navigational
Are
tool.
the stars right?
Mm-hmm.
So you ask the question, and then you give it a spin, not unlike somebody taking a globe and just spinning it really hard, but there's a lot more moving pieces in this. So congratulations, you have acquired the highest level of fidget spinner. Utashi will not be doing anything for the next 3 to 5 rounds. And when it stops spinning, it's lined up to show a planet in line to collide with another planet.
This does not look like a good result. I hope this is not a literal result, but even if it is not, I do not think it is a good result.
I mean, I doubt it's literal. The only results that this can give you involve, like, things in space. But
Yes.
even as a metaphor, maybe let's not cast Dispel Magic on the tower.
It could be extremely metaphorical. It could also mean if you do this, a large and heavy object will impact you, like, say, the top of a tower.
Okay. So that's a thing you did. I've got a question. So, we know metaphorically, possibly, what would happen if you do cast Dispel Magic. But what happens if you don't?
If we just leave it alone? Hi, Monty.
Yes, you did with your nat 20 wake up Monty. And he eventually came down. As he's walking up to this group conversation, he is currently holding a cup of a brown liquid that is currently steaming.
It's probably tar.
No, Monty does
It's a
not
ship
drink
after
tar.
all. But does he
Monty-
drink oil?
Monty does not drink oil.
Unless it's on fire.
He occasionally enjoys beverages that are perhaps no longer a state of matter that involves liquid or gas, and sometimes enjoys a spicy food where the Scoville rating has to be displayed in a mathematical equation that's mostly letters. But he won't drink tar. This might be superheated soda, though. It's Jolt Cola.
Served hot. Cola, Jolt, hot. Sorry.
I approve. If you don't have inspiration, you do now. Because, well, the thing is, I've been around long enough to have known a lot of people who had a lot of prophecies about them. You will do this or this will happen. But sometimes the thing that was going to happen anyway, no matter what they did. So here's the question. Do we get the exact same problem if we don't cast anything?
Spell is not reliable if repeated.
How do we know it's reliable when only cast once?
The testimony of many magic users over many centuries?
Yeah, well, what do they know?
Magic.
What do they know besides the thing they've devoted their lives to studying?
Sorry's just going to look at Monty reproachfully.
Look, Monty's daughter is a sorcerer with a very low arcana score. Monty doesn't necessarily 100% endorse highfalutin magic schools. Look how successful his daughter is without formal training.
His daughter, who effectively thought Wish was a new class feature.
It's not. His daughter who occasionally turns into a dragonfly. The most literal dragonfly. Anyway. Look, all I'm saying is, this augury spell, kind of fancy, but you need to know your sources. Who's your source? Just some otherworldly entity? Or was it given a name? Because frankly, all but one of us here could technically be considered an otherworldly entity.
Do I count as an entity?
People are also entities, yes. Not all entities are people, but all people are entities.
Are you sure?
Look, I know a lot of entities. Some of my best friends are entities. Also, technically, gods are entities. And do you trust every god? Because if the answer is yes, we're going to have a sit-down conversation.
I mean, you might trust them to know things about their domain, right?
Oh, yeah, gods know tons of stuff. Gods are very knowledgeable. Gods aren't required to be honest. Some of the gods that are considered generally good are deliberately dishonest. I mean, look at the gnomes.
Really?
They've got Garl Glittergold. He's a trickster god.
Oh, is that bad?
He's the reason you don't have a god.
Sorry,
you
is
personally.
lifting up. Oh,
I mean, most kobold clans.
are you saying that he might be the reason I don't remember my god?
Depends. Did you worship the god of all kobolds? Because that's the one that isn't around anymore. It's imprisoned in a maze forever.
Well, I don't know because I woke up and I couldn't remember.
Got any clues?
Sorry, will hold out her religious symbol that was with her.
Okay, so, by the way, while this conversation is going on, Papaki has decided she has nothing to contribute here and has wandered back over to the tower. She is going to see if it really stops at the top or if it just looks like it does. And Longkep is going to go join Papaki. This is wonderful.
I think to that. Yes.
Okay. So, those two are going to do that. Utashi is probably sitting there spinning the astro thingy.
Yes.
No, I need that. That's my spell book.
Okay. Utashi wanders off to play with something else. Mori
Crystals or pebbles or...
Mori is hanging out with Sori for this conversation. Sori and Monty.
It has to do with gods.
It
And
has to
she
do with
actually has a
gods.
level in cleric.
She has multiple levels in cleric, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And has mixed feelings about a lot of things. But they've had some good conversations about religion. So Mori's sticking around for this. And I'm going to make a roll for Monty because Monty has a slight problem. That problem can be referred to as impulse control. Okay. Give me an insight check. Sorry. That's a 14.
14.
I'm going to make a roll for Monty.
Oh, wow, there's question marks when it rolls. Because it's a private roll. All the sides of that D20 were question marks.
Ah, that's an I don't think it always did that.
I don't think so either.
Dice So Nice has had a couple updates since the last time we played.
Well, Dice So Nice is nice.
Mm-hmm. And by that I mean, yes, we had a game yesterday. Dice So Nice had additional updates this morning.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So you pull the medallion out and Monty leans forward and does the whole using thumb and forefinger on his chin thing as he squints at it. And if he had glasses, he'd be adjusting them to get a closer look. Possibly look through the bifocal lenses. But he doesn't have glasses. So he doesn't do that. And now everyone is rolling D4s and D8s. Do I want to know why, or is it just playing with dice?
You said Dice So Nice had been updated.
Ah.
And
so,
I wanted to see if it looked different.
Well, you can make, as you know, you can make the dice look however you want. But I think it might have been, in addition to that new thing we just discovered, I think it was mostly bug fixes. So Monty examines your religious symbol and goes, maybe it's an amalgamation, more than one deity. You know, not everyone worships just one. Some people worship a whole pantheon.
That's true. But whoever it is, it's very nice because they still give me spells even when I can't remember everything properly.
Monty raises a draconic eyebrow at that. Or eye ridge.
Mm-hmm. Bing, bing. She's cuddling her religious symbol.
Give me another insight check.
Okay. We should cut to the other people soon. Why is
Yes, we're
mine-
cutting right after this.
No, that's not mine. 13.
You don't notice any additional information. Monty just nods and says, well,
Okay.
I wish you luck on your journey. Okay. So, Longkep and Bapaki, you have climbed to the top of the tower. The creepiness is still there. It's not worse than when you were here earlier. It's not better than when you were here earlier. It's the same. Now, Longkep's experience is different than Bapaki's experience. Bapaki is hardwired to have this weird thing called emotions. So Bapaki is aware that this is really supposed to be weirding her out. Longkep, it's not so much an emotion. It's more like there is a problem in how things are arranged. Like if you see a mathematical equation that has a solution included, but you know the solution wouldn't work, or a theorem that is contradictory, or something is out of place here. And you get the feeling that it's not a matter of this is something that would like to make sure that Longkep stops being Longkep, so much as it is, this is something that is going to do what it wants. Who cares about physics? Those are just suggestions. And Longkep isn't worth the effort of thinking about Longkep.
Bapaki,
Yeah?
I do not like this.
I think you're supposed to not like it. There's something here that wants to keep people away, which is part of why I'm exploring it.
It feels bad. Like the inscription of a spell that will blow up in your face. And it will not care that it blows up in your face because it is a spell.
For me, it just feels like I'm going to be sick if I go any farther up. But
You'll get a sinking sensation to be sure.
also, I've got a pretty strong stomach. Is there something I can tie myself off on?
The staircase doesn't really have a railing anymore, but it does have the parts that a railing was once attached to. So with a little ingenuity, you can anchor something in the wall to tie yourself onto it.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay. And if you didn't have rope on you, you've got rope on the ship, so I'm not worried about any of that. Longkep is casting False Life, and it looks like you gain 7 temporary hit points. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, Bapaki, what do you do after you anchor yourself?
Well, first I feel around to see if there's another step beyond the top step.
There is not. You feel like there should be, but there isn't. As you reach out and put your foot down into the space where a step would be, you only hit air and can go well down below the highest most step you can actually access.
Does that change if I bring my foot down hard, like deliberately?
I'm going to ask you to make an acrobatics check.
Okay.
I am aware that you have a +9. So that 10 is a 19. Yes, you bring your foot down hard and do not lose your balance in the process. But that was a drastic shift in weight on your part. Yeah, there's definitely no step there. You don't see a step. There is no part of your sensory input that says, here is a step. But there's a tickling sensation in the back of your lizard brain. Technically, that's accurate. You're a kobold. That says there should be a step here. And not just because of the architecture. I am going to ask for 2 different rolls. Bapaki, I'm going to want a perception check. But Longkep, I'm going to want Arcana. Bapaki has an 18 for perception. What is Longkep's? Longkep got a 25 for Arcana. Interestingly enough, Longkep got an 18 on the die.
Yep.
So it's funny when I'm resolving Bapaki saying Bapaki got an 18, I see an 18 roll pass. I'm like, wait, wait, no, hold on. Coincidence? I think so. Santa and Satan both have the same letters making up their names. They both wear red. Have you ever seen them together? Coincidence?
I mean, one might be the Mirror Universe version.
One of them is the Belschnickel. Belschnickel, by the way, is the Pennsylvania Dutch version of the Krampus, but never mind about that. So, Bapaki, you probably wouldn't notice if you weren't actively studying this space right now. Whether or not you admit that to yourself or anyone else is besides the point, but you probably wouldn't have noticed if you weren't actively doing this, which is the GM's way of saying that this isn't a passive perception thing. But every now and then as you're doing this, you don't see signs of tower where there's no tower. There's still no tower, but you get glimpses of things like out of the corner of your eye. Again, not tower, other things. Things that are more organic, but if you were asked to describe their form, it's a very nebulous thing. You wouldn't be able to give an accurate description. It's kind of like, and then that's when the words fail you. That's what you get with the 18. Now, as someone who has studied the ways of magic, with a 25 on your Arcana roll, Longkept, what you are starting to gather as you watch Bapaki actively try to almost kind of sort of fall off the edge, but not really. She had everything under control, really. She actually did, but whatever. You start to form a working hypothesis. You need more information. Casting Dispel Magic would probably give you a lot of information. The question is, would you enjoy the experience? The answer is no, you don't have emotions, but that's beside the point. I will give myself inspiration because Beth chuckled at that. Cypher System, I could give myself inspiration again. Just saying, there's no cap. So you're not entirely sure that the top of the tower is... No, wait, that's the wrong way of putting it. Yes, it's gone. It is clearly not here. Technically, by everything you're seeing, it is not here. But it's not gone as in destroyed. It is somewhere. And it's possible that this is a thinned spot between planes of reality, which would make it feel weird because different planes have different physics. So if you're encountering another plane that has a different set of physics, of course the math is not going to add up. That's what activates those parts of your brain that say, look out for something, or this doesn't line up, or that spell is going to explode. Because the tower, the top of the tower is like half of a needle pushed through fabric. It's no longer on one side of the fabric, but it's not gone. It's just not there anymore.
Bipaki,
Yeah?
I think this is perhaps not exactly a planar boundary, but a place where two planes are closer than they should be. Would you like to ascend further?
Sure, I'll try, but I can't get purchase on that stairs, so, I mean...
You can now.
For the listeners at home, Longkept cast Fly.
At 4th level, which means I can cast it on both of us.
They will lift you up.
Oh dear.
Bipaki, because she is Bipaki, is going to do the ridiculous walking up fake steps thing. Just as a gag at first.
You hear the unmistakable voice of Monty from over by the ship going, "Classic!"
Longkept is also going to attempt to walk up steps that are not there, but in their case, they're doing it because maybe treating the tower like it's there will
Convince it to actually be there.
glean additional information.
Sympathetic magic. I'm going to ask for performance checks from both of you.
Oh no.
You get advantage if you're wearing mime makeup. That's a 7 and a 12 for Bipaki and Longkept respectively. So everyone observing can see and understand what you are attempting to do. I'm not going to say that you're putting your feet where steps actually would have been if the tower was normal. But you get the meaning across. If you'd rolled under 5, this would be a different conversation. Bipaki and Longkept, I'm going to ask you both to make perception and arcana rolls again. The same roll you made before, you're making it again. That's a 16 for Longkep and a 17 for Bapaki. All right. Bapaki, you're seeing more of the things or thing out of the corner of your eye. Never when you look directly in a location. Always when you're not looking for it. It's always in a blind spot where you know it's there more than when you actually see it's there. And now that you've gone up higher into where the tower should be, it's getting to be a way stronger sensation. Longkep, your hypothesis is getting closer to being a theory because you almost feel like there should be solid matter. Like when you go back and try to do it again, there is no resistance when you put your foot through where solid stone would be if the tower was complete. But the first time you do it, it seems that your foot moves through it or your hand moves through it just a little bit slower than it should have if it was just air.
Do you feel that?
Feel what?
The tower. It's almost here.
Oh, well, maybe we should keep going up. I'm gonna have to untie myself eventually.
I will say that you have enough rope that unless this tower was made with some physics-defying architecture to begin with, you're going to reach the max height that the tower would have had before you run out of rope. However, your flight speed would allow you to go much higher than that also. Sorry, I'm going to ask you to make a perception check. I'm assuming you're still over on the ship, or have you been walking over to the tower?
Probably still on the ship and
Okay.
realizing, oh, hey, where'd they go?
Well,
Perception.
you did hear Monty yell classic. And Monty is looking over at the tower where you see two figures pretending to walk upstairs that aren't there.
Well,
Okay.
Maury get a chance?
Sure, why not? Not persuasion. That's a different thing. Maury does not persuade things to be noticed. It's not how it works. Maury got a 7. So, sorry. There's still a lot of cloud cover. There was this big storm, and there's still lots of clouds out there. And you know how clouds tend to look like things? And sometimes it's just like you're hardwired to notice faces. So that cloud looks like a face. That moon looks like a face. That kobold's face looks like a face. All that stuff. Well, the clouds behind the tower, and I don't mean directly behind the tower, I mean the angle that you're looking, the clouds that are in the sky that happen to be partially blocked by the tower, are kind of looking... The word you want to use is No, that's not the word. The DM needs to be able to say the word. Malevolent. Not the clouds over there.
Just because...
Not the clouds behind you. The clouds, like, directly behind the tower. That might be several miles away, but from your point of view, from your angle, they're directly behind the tower.
It's like the clouds that I would be seeing. If there were an invisible tower there, I'd be looking through the invisible part and seeing malevolent clouds.
Yes.
Sori is kind of nervous about this, and maybe they should come back. Sori will call, the clouds are looking bad where you are.
For the record, I need to show this. Reveal to everyone. Okay, so as you can see, Monty got a 26 on a perception check. But click on that to see what Monty actually rolled.
10?
No,
What?
10 was because
Oh,
of
no.
the reliable trait.
So are you treating that as a crit
I'm
fail?
treating
or
that
are
as a
you-
crit fail.
Because it's funny.
Because it's funnier that way, yes. Also, I can't imagine, even if rules as written state specifically that the reliable talent means you never have a nat 1 again, I can't imagine just erasing that from the game for rogues. We can argue that D&D, like most TTRPGs, is not actually truly balanced, because it isn't. However, that I think would be very broken. If we could just have one class that we say after a certain level, they can't fail.
Hilarious, but broken.
Yes.
Well, rules as written, nat ones aren't automatic failures on skill checks.
I stand by this is funnier.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is funnier. It's just that that's why they're removing it. It's because from their point of view, the extraordinarily common, possibly even most common house rule is not a thing.
I find it interesting how many of the D&D 2024 changes to the rules were, hey, most of y'all are using this house rule, so we're going to make it a rule. And the DMs kept running their games like nothing changed. Anyway, zooming back over, and by that I mean the camera must be a drone shot or something. It literally zooms over to Bapaki and Longkep. You are hovering in the air. At this point, I'm going to say you're about 20 feet up from the tallest part of the tower. I'll say you're about 40 feet up in total.
Zori is yelling that the clouds look bad over there.
I will say you do hear
we
Sori
hear?
yelling this.
Okay.
I'm going to say that the Shrike ship was put down maybe 30 feet away, close enough that if somebody had to run to the ship, they could get there in one turn. All right. With a 13 perception check, Bapaki, when you hear Sori say the clouds look evil, you look around and the clouds look fine. You're still seeing something out of the corner of your eye. It's not the clouds. The clouds are far away. This is near. This is close. This is something that you were wrong earlier. It doesn't want you gone. It doesn't want you to stay either. It doesn't care. It's dangerous to be near, and it doesn't care what happens to you, regardless of if you choose to be near or not. You are not its concern. Longkep got a 19 on perception. Longkep, oh, sorry, my ADHD just kicked in because the clouds are starting to thin. The storm here is ending. And it is the golden hour here. One of my favorite times of day for photography. Everything is starting to get a yellowish tint to it as the sun gets lower and closer to the horizon. Oh, that is glorious to see out my window. That is my equivalent of a shiny. So, Longkep, the clouds look fine. There's nothing wrong with the clouds at all. The space you're in is not fine. You have gone further into the area that is a thinning between the planes. And the plane that is on the other side of this piece of fabric here that has been pierced with needles, thus making it weaker, is not one conducive to the ongoing continuation of Longkep.
I do not believe that we wish to go to the plane that we are currently ascending to.
And something is pushing through.
I believe we want to go down.
Okay.
What's your fly speed?
60 feet.
Okay. So from your height, you can very easily make it to the ground floor. No problem whatsoever. However, one of you will have to stop partway down to untie yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Or pull out a scimitar and slice it.
That is also a possibility.
I'm not cutting one of my sheets. I'm actually going to fly to the attachment point and undo it.
Okay. Longkep, do you keep pace with Papaki, or do you go down to the ground floor and let Papaki catch up?
I will drop a little further down than Bapaki, but not completely outpace her.
As you do this, the sky starts to darken. Possibly a storm like what I just had come through is starting to happen again. I mean, you just weathered one of those a little while ago. 2 weeks ago, by real-time standards, if we break the fourth wall. Sorry, you do not need a perception check anymore. There is something starting to... It's like somebody's taking the transparency slider for something in an editing program and moving it from 0% over towards 100. Something is starting to be there where there wasn't anything there before. It wasn't the clouds that were malevolent. The clouds were providing the backdrop that allowed you to see that something was starting to form in that space.
Zori is going to yelp Something's coming in, because she is torn between trying to run to the helm thing, even though that's Bapaki's, or can she tell the...
Something is coming out.
Yes! Hurry! She sort of wants to make the ship come over quicker so that they can get onto the ship and be away from it. But can she do that without losing all her spells?
The Shrike ship
Can she
does
tell the
not
autopilot?
require spell slots.
She is probably running for the bridge to tell the Shrike ship to come help get the captain and Longkep, get there quicker.
I may have accidentally added some people to the initiative tracker twice.
Uh-oh.
I can fix that shortly because we're about to go on break because we've been playing for about an hour. But I want to get to a really neat stopping point before we do that. So, Bapaki, I'm not going to require a roll. Your dexterity is too high. You do manage to untie this, no problem. Do you have difficulty? No. When you tied it, it was afraid not. And as you pull it away from the spot where it was tied to the wall, something slides down and wraps around where the rope used to be and then moves away.
Well, that ain't creepy. Let's get going. And Bapaki does the tower have a central core, or does it?
Yes.
Is it just like?
It has a central core.
Okay, so I can't just.
It did have more floors, but the floors were wood, and the wood is gone.
But I can't just jump down the middle.
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it had floors, but they are long gone because they were made of wood. It's only the stone shell that remains above ground.
Gotcha. Okay, then I'm just going off the edge and.
All right, and
Shall we?
Longkep?
Longkep is following.
Okay, so you bug out of there, and something starts to solidify. It was every time you were seeing out of the corner of your eye, Bapaki, it was nebulous. But as you are booking it, you see tendrils start to move past the corner of your eye into your vision, trying to wrap around you and Longkep as you use your superior flying speed to move towards the Shrike ship. And that is where we're going to take the break. We'll be back in a bit. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always pressing buttons. And we're back, and we will not talk at all about how long that break was.
Shh.
Yes. It definitely wasn't. That's a nat 20. And now I got to change tabs to see. So
Yeah.
I
I just
love this.
I do that
Another
to
net-
make sure. Go ahead.
what's this?
Oh wow. I just rolled a
I
dice
think
when
my
I start.
dice lagged slightly.
Um,
So I was about to say that's another nat 20, but I think that was the same nat 20.
Could be.
and this one says it was by Utashi
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
Jen always rolls a die just to start off, which
Yeah.
is fine.
And this one says it was Utashi, and this one says it was Utashi.
Check under your
Look
seat.
under your
There's an
seat.
Utashi under there. Why is
Yeah.
Utashi under there?
She's playing
Why
hide
is the
and seek.
kobold screaming? You'd be screaming too if you knew what the kobold knew. What the kobold knows is there is an eldritch horror coming at you at speed.
Oh no.
And we have previously rolled for initiative, so we're just going to stick with that.
Okay.
Longcap and the menagerie. It's not a glass menagerie, it's a bone menagerie. It's totally different, although there is a lot of smashing involved. There is no unicorn that would be better as a horse, but yet. I'm pained to say, yet. Anyway,
I'm still
Longcap,
flying, right?
you are still flying, and this thing is almost upon you because you haven't used your movement yet.
We rolled
I'm
for
going
initiative.
to say that the poorly drawn ship on the grid, because I'd used the mouse for that, is the correct distance away.
How far up are we?
You did choose to come down to the tower that could be seen before flying towards the ship. So, because Papaki was tied to the wall, so that was by a length of rope, not just, hey guys, I'm hanging out. That's a good question. I'm going to leave it to the player. How high up would you be if you were flying away from an eldritch horror trying to get on a ship?
That depends on whether the ship is up or down.
it has landed, and the deck of the ship, well, it's got multiple level decks, but if you are somewhere between 15 to 30 feet in the air, you are at level with one of the decks that you can reach.
Okay. Is this the correct amount of distance to the ship?
Yes.
Is it also the correct distance to the bad thing?
Yes.
So I will get attack of opportunity if I go to the ship.
That is a possibility. However, I will allow for Arcana or Perception.
It does look like it would have a long reach.
But Pocky's going to roll Percana. Ask your doctor if Percana is right for you. Side effects may include eldritch horrors. Well, with a 25, this is a thing from another plane of reality that is bursting into this world. It is quite possible that it is not technically attacking you. It just doesn't care. So it might not be swatting at you. You just need to stay out of its way.
In that case, 5, 10, 15, 20. Longcap will attempt to retreat to the ship, and then Longcap will...
Righty does not roll a d2. That was me. Anyway, please continue. You go to the ship and then...
Why did that not work? Hello?
Hello?
Foundry's not working.
Oh dear.
Oh.
What are you trying to do?
Actually, wait, I can't do that. I'm concentrating. Drat.
Yes, if you do break your concentration, Bapaki will go from flying to running, or falling with style, then trying to run.
In midair, run, hit the ground. I talk about hit the ground running.
By the way, you can check off fighting with Foundry on your bingo card now.
I will cast,
Faithful Hound.
which in Longcap's case is less a phantom watchdog and more of a, watchdog.
Phantom bone dog?
I feel like that would be redundant because I was implying that the dog was a ghost.
Well, it might be a ghostly dog made of bones, just so we can have like another call out to another T. Kingfisher book, which is Nettle and Bone.
I was gonna say,
Bone dog.
Bone Dog is the best doggo.
Yes.
And I am going to summon it to, how do I, drag something onto the map? Oh no, I have a better idea.
The
I
hound
don't
is
know why it's
invisible.
pink, but I am hoping that maybe the invisible hound will distract the thing.
Yes, I was gonna say, the hound is invisible to all creatures except you and can't be harmed.
Yes.
But you're summoning it as a distraction, and it is pink. It is an invisible pink ghost dog made of bones.
That bites things. And I would be pretty distracted if an invisible thing started biting me.
I would especially be distracted if an invisible pink thing was biting me. Or any color for that matter, because how would I know what color it was? I would be more disturbed by that than the fact that it was currently chewing on me.
Anyway.
Why is it blue? How do I know it's blue?
It bit you in a blue way.
I'm hoping that maybe the bitey thing that it can't smack will distract it from smacking the things that aren't biting it and are running away. And that is my turn.
Okay. I should probably have clicked the begin combat button. There we go. So the Minotaur readies its axe and stares. Righty does typing exercises. I don't know. Smallest Kep assumes a frightening posture.
Clinging to Longcap's shoulder, no doubt, like the tiniest, boniest shoulder cat.
Yeah. You can't hear it hissing in a threatening manner, but if you look at it, you will almost think you can.
Oh.
And now we are up to Bapaki.
Oh, sure enough. I was sitting here going, there's 3 more people between Longcap and me.
Nope.
You were technically correct, which is the best kind of correct, but none of them have ranged attacks.
Bapaki is on the ground, or will have moved to the ground.
Okay.
But mostly because Bapaki, despite not having any magic herself, knows kind of how other people's magic works. And if Longcap got whacked by one of those not tentacles, the flying was potentially going to very abruptly stop. And Bapaki decided that she would prefer to be as close to the ground as possible when that happened.
I hate the wind.
That's valid.
Also, you feel like you're going faster if you're close to the ground when you're flying.
It's true. So I have a really odd question. Is the Faithful Hound a creature?
That's an excellent question. And the spell.
Yeah,
description,
looking at the spell, I have no idea.
it keeps mentioning creatures, but it's in relation to the hound, not the hound itself.
Yeah, I don't.
So this
I
is
think the
thing
hound
where-
is just a manifestation of magic. I don't think it's actually it's like the equivalent of a spiritual weapon.
Here's another thing to keep in mind, because if you're referencing what I think you're referencing, you don't see the hound.
Oh, it's invisible.
It's invisible to all creatures except Longcap. That means you don't see it, and this thing, if it has an analog to sight, also does not see it. So anything that involves placement of allies, in this particular case, I would rule that you are standing alone. Does that help?
Yes. I mean, frankly, it's determining whether I need to move 5 feet to the left. But
It's just a jump to the left.
yeah, but I'm not going to step back to the right.
Or put your hands on your hips.
No.
Yeah.
Putting your knees in tight does definitely not help with, sword play.
No.
Let's see. I don't get that ability yet, I don't think.
And don't forget, your sword does fancy things.
Yes. And I have to not call myself a thief. I am not a thief. I'm a pirate.
If someone gives you a letter of marque, you're not even that.
Oh,
You'd be a privateer.
I never get that ability. Okay.
By the way, I think we can check off, hang on, I need to look something up
Yes.
on the bingo card.
Well, all right. And you said the grid on the map was an accurate representation of how far the ship is from us?
Yes.
Okie dokie. Then I've got the target in my sights, and I'm going to shoot bullets at it.
The bold strategy.
If I can figure out how to do that. Oh, sorry about that. I was scrolled up and was not seeing that appear in the chat window.
We've already checked off Fighting with Foundry. You can't click on it again without making the X go away.
For once in my life, I don't have inspiration.
Oh no.
But I do believe you still get sneak attack.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I did absolutely still get sneak attack. I just don't get inspiration on the roll. Does an 18 hit?
Well, let's take a look. Yes. Yes, an 18 hits.
Okie dokie. Then I have to click it.
Okay, that is 10 points of sneak attack damage and 17 points of... 10 points of damage from the short sword of shocking and 17 sneak attack. I was saying the right numbers, but attributing them to the wrong thing. I have applied the damage. Pray I do not apply it further.
Oh, right. Plus 5 lightning damage.
Zappy zappy. No, it doesn't have 5 hit points. I'm taking away 5 hit points. It's not the same. And that is multiple laughs from Beth. The GM is awarding themselves XP.
And
I'll
then
take
I
that
am
off.
going to run another 15 feet away.
Okay. I am going to make another roll. Are you disengaging?
I don't have to.
Fancy footwork. When you choose this archetype, whatever, at their level, you learn how to land a strike and then slip away without reprisal. So it's built-in disengage.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I will not make a
Nice.
roll. So there. And I hope you've learned your lesson, young lady, that you can strike with impunity.
I definitely have. That's the end of my turn.
Okay.
The ability that I was looking for, by the way, was extra attack, which I don't get.
Oh.
Oh, but you do get to be a pirate.
This is true, and it's better.
I mean, I gave you a ship, and I gave Sori her turn. Sori, what would you like to do?
Sori is casting mirror image off, let's see, 30 feet. Phantom, see within range. No, that's your phantom. This is my phantom. It's me. No, I do not want to cast that one. That's not the one I want to do. Oh, that's right.
This doesn't count towards fighting with Foundry. You do know that.
No, this counts towards forgetting what which one is mine, and it's in my features.
There are many
I
like
want
it,
to
but this one is yours.
I am going to invoke my duplicity.
Okay. Where does second story hang out?
Second story, 30 feet. These are 5 foots.
Yes.
5, 10, 15, 20. Second story is 5, 10, 15, 20. Going to be right there,
Okay. Right up next to the hound,
which I can't see.
which you cannot see.
Yes.
I'm just scrolling up to the
And
physical
second
hound thing to
story
see
is-
when the
is-
hound attack.
Hmm?
It's going to be at the start of Longcap's next turn. So that's what we need to remember. Okay, please continue.
Second story is going to puff herself up and attempt to look menacing despite being a teeny tiny kobold-sized dragonborn. And I think that's about all I've got. That's I can move the actually I can use move illusion as a bonus action, which means that I'm going to go this way just one step to try to divert attention away from Bapaki.
Okay. Jen, are you back?
Yes.
Okay, it occurred to me
Good timing.
when we
Mhm.
were recording the first half of this, you weren't here, and now you are here, which means Utashi isn't in the initiative.
Right.
So if you could go in Foundry to that second thing over on the right-hand side where it says combat encounters, looks like crossed swords.
There it is.
Look down at the
Okay,
bottom, you'll see Utashi and a 20-sided die next to Utashi's head. Go ahead and click on
Okay.
that 20-sided die.
Okay, I have. There we go. She got a 3.
Okay, which brings it up to a 6, which is great
Oh,
because that
okay.
means we
Mhm.
didn't skip your turn by accident.
No, it was the bird's bedtime. She chooses her own, so I had to go help her with that, and then I came back.
Yes, but also we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters down through the initiative order.
Yeah.
So there was a
Yeah.
chance that we would have skipped your turn and had to go and backtrack.
Possible, yeah.
But we didn't have to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of explanation
mm-mm.
that we didn't have to.
Yes.
And yes, Ellie, second story did ping my pun sense as well. We've had story, but what about second story?
I was thinking about that too.
Oh,
Also,
my.
there's only one story for the tower. The second story is in another dimension. We've covered this. And so has the malformed massive tentacles. That has also covered that space. But it's time for Monty to do something about it because it's Monty's turn. Well, this is exciting. That's a lot of stuff. I don't think I like any of that stuff. Give me a second. Monty pulls off his hat and starts rummaging around in it. It is a hat of holding, so Monty's arm goes into the elbow.
That's nice, though.
Oh, I love this hat. I had a friend make it for me. I am looking over Monty's spell list, and I haven't looked at it in years.
Oh no.
Because he usually just prefers to use fire.
Does this
I mean,
count
if
as I
you were
forgot
Monty,
this
wouldn't
NPC
you?
could do something?
What's this?
Yeah, true. Does this count as I forgot this NPC could do something?
Yes. Yes. Where is that on this card? That one was unintentional. I've been actively trying to get a bingo on here. But
If you get a bingo, are you going to give Monty the inspiration?
no.
Drat.
Well, let's see if this works. Monty is going to attempt to cast Tasha's hideous laughter on the malformed massive tentacles from an alternate dimension. This is not a sentence
Oh.
I have ever, in all of my decades, thought I would say out loud.
But it's a good one.
Mhm.
It is a good sentence.
I
I like this
confess.
sentence. What's that?
I liked this spell better when it was called Tasha's Hideous Uncontrollable Laughter.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair.
But
Okay.
Tasha's Hideous Laughter is easier to say.
Mhm.
Does this have any condition immunities or things that are going to come into play? The concerns are duly noted. With a 21, it makes the save. Well,
Wow.
I assure you, that joke is way funnier in the original Draconic. And that's going to be Monty's turn. It's now Maury's turn. Maury makes a will save to roll her eyes. And by that I mean she doesn't roll her eyes. Because she didn't have to make a will save because those don't exist in 5th edition. I need to make sure I'm in the spell section. People are posting in chat. Will not rechat. Cannot rechat. Need to cast spells so players can actually play again. I will not be distracted. I am one with the Force. The Force is with me.
15 minutes later, Monty uses his 7th action.
No, Monty cast a spell that was a full action. In this case, it's just Maury.
I just assume Monty has like 5 action surges.
Technically, I call them legendary actions, but I'm trying to keep those on the down low. It's a shame we're not in my lair, but I gotta spend more nights in the crow's nest before I can get lair actions on the ship. Good news, everyone. As a lair action, I can make lava appear everywhere. Why are you all disagreeing with this?
The ship is not fireproof.
The ship is made of wood. That's great. All the enemies on board will take fire damage.
No.
Oh, no wonder. I was looking at the high level spells for Mori because clearly she'd want to cast a high level spell, right? Well, here's the thing.
No.
Guiding Bolt isn't in there because Guiding
It's
Bolt
not
can be
high
cast
level.
at first level. She's going to cast it at a higher level. There we go. So, Guiding Bolt. Well, that was a lot of build up for a 9. It was a 2 on the die. Oh well. It is the mass's turn. On its turn, it doesn't move. This is not the good news you think it is.
No, it's not.
It just grows forward
just-
a few spaces.
I was going to say, I was waiting for what kind of doesn't move.
The center of mass is in the same spot, but it has grown a bit.
Concerning.
Second Sori is now within the mass, so is the Faithful Hound. The Faithful Hound is barking excitedly because it knows it gets to bite something soon. Io, tell me, is the Faithful Hound a big dog, medium dog, or small dog? This doesn't change its damage type.
I think it's a medium to large dog.
Okay, so it's a more of a baritone. Yes, Ellie, that's a great gif. It's going bork. It's not going yip. It's going bork. All right, so let's see. The malformed mass does have multi-attack, so it's going to make 3 tentacle attacks, but it can replace one of them with an ability that we're not going to get into yet.
I am not going to make the joke that popped into my head because this is a family-friendly channel.
You are a friend, and I appreciate you. That's a 19 to hit. It was an 8 on the die. And... What?
Neri says, amateur.
I mean, that's fair. But also that's going to be 18 points of bludgeoning damage. Neri had a plus 13 to start the last campaign. Fair. But also I didn't Neri start with a legendary item.
Well, yeah.
For a fun adventure, dear listeners, give first level characters legendary or at least extremely rare unique magical items. That's
With a
how
barbarian,
Zax
2
had
of them.
more than 2 because Zax needed more than one strength boosting thing in order to
Yes,
have the hammer.
in order to wield the hammer.
Yes, which is a wonderful loophole. You said I could use this, but to use this I need these things. Okay. It was fun. It was wonderful. Not going to play it like that again, but it was good. Okay. I am going to roll a die.
As we saw in that, it took me, 25 episodes to get a magic weapon?
Oh, to be fair, Bapaki has not been in 25 episodes yet.
That's true.
Yes. And also to be fair, which is followed by someone else saying to be fair, followed by someone else saying to be fair, all harmonizing together, but that's besides the point. Deza has a Cobot foundry.
Also true.
Yes, and started with a magic ring, which may or may not have blown up High Temple. Just saying. I have rolled to see what the next attack would be because this thing is somewhat random. It is going to go for another tentacle attack. That is a dirty 20. And 12 points of bludgeoning damage.
2?
12 points of bludgeoning damage.
What is it attacking?
Is attacking Bapaki again. Bapaki's the closest one in range.
Oh,
Fake Sori is close in range.
This is also true. And you'll notice I rolled a D2.
Oh.
Yeah. And
nope. Not going to do that.
I'm going to roll one more D2.
I don't suppose these count as area of effect.
No. Alas, they do not. By the way, technically you're grappled now. There is a
Hooray.
roll you can make to escape. But I have some good news for you. You're not going to be. Please roll a dexterity saving throw for me.
Hooray.
Because you've been grappled by a tentacle, slammed against the ground once, now you're being thrown.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Is Bapaki technically still being flying, making that being thrown less
You
I
know,
can
Problematic.
easily see Bapaki remembering that halfway through being thrown.
Oh no.
I like this. I like this plan.
Yes.
So here's what we're going to do.
All right.
You need to make the dexterity saving throw to stop yourself in time.
I didn't do that.
No,
Oh, that's a different one.
unfortunately, that was 6 points too low. Alas.
I'm
good
going to
news
spend the
is-
inspiration I don't have.
Rat.
The good news is you are now here. The bad news is there is now a silhouette imprint of you on the side of the ship.
Yes.
You yell at yourself to stop poking holes in your ship.
How much damage do I take?
Well, that wasn't actually very far. That was only 10 feet, which means...
Yeah, but I went
Oh.
into the side of a ship.
Yes, if the
You just
thrown
dented it
target
a little.
strikes a solid surface, the ship is the solid surface, it takes 1d6 bludgeoning for every 10 feet. So it's basically falling damage, but horizontal, not
Yeah.
vertical, which really makes sense.
That's some impressive acceleration.
It is, but also look how large this thing is.
Granted.
Yes. And it could have thrown you up to 60 feet, but there was a ship in the way. I will say that the other effects that would be happening here aren't happening because you do realize you're flying when you notice that you're not falling after you hit the ship.
Okay.
You take, I'm going to give you the average. You take 3 points of bludgeoning damage from hitting the ship.
Okay.
All right.
I have to find it again. There it is. I will note that I am using my reaction to have the 18 points of damage down to 9.
Okay.
That's uncanny dodge, if anyone's curious.
And because you're flying, you can indeed dodge the ground.
Well, the ground was only 3 points of damage. Not the ground, the ship. The ship, which was
Yeah,
vertical ground.
the 18 was the first tentacle attack.
Yeah.
Ah,
Somehow
okay, yes.
You
Sorry.
dodged. You dodged an attack that resulted in you being grappled.
Yes.
It is truly.
I was only half as
uncanny.
grappled.
Take your inspiration point.
I
Oh,
was demi-grappled.
okay. With that done, it is now Utashi's turn. The healer goes last,
The healer
And-
goes last. Yes.
and Mori looks indignantly at the GM.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think Utashi is going to climb up into the crow's nest and start shooting crossbow bolts at this big thing, probably.
Ellie, you've already gotten
Or
your
just lean over.
inspiration. This GIF would get you a second point if the rules allowed it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jen.
That's okay, no worries.
Okay,
So she's going to
so-
climb up there with her crossbow in her teeth and start shooting this mass huge thing
Okay.
that she doesn't really understand. Yeah.
That's a thing we can do. So in
Mhm.
your character sheet, if you have your character sheet open and you look over on the right-hand side, you've got little tabs that stick out. Second one down is inventory.
Okay,
And
I see it.
go ahead and click on the icon for crossbow light.
Okay, I've clicked on that.
Okay, now you can go over to
And
the
we
chat.
do an attack. Yep. Okay. Going to attack this big thing.
That's
20.
a dirty 20. That's going to hit. Go ahead and click on damage.
Uh-huh. Yay! Ooh, okay. Damage was here. Is that critical or normal?
Normal.
Normal.
Yeah.
Normal.
Alas, it was
Okay.
only a dirty 20, not a
Yeah.
full 20.
Oh, yeah, that's
8
fine.
points of damage. We're going to apply that right now.
Okay. And then
Alright.
she'll do it again next turn.
Okay.
hmm
And now we're back up to the start, which means, Longcap, there is a doggo,
Yes.
a good doggo.
Who's probably not going to hit.
Does it need to? I'm trying to
We have
up
to
and
scroll up to
it.
find out.
Yeah,
It says
This
it
is-
attempts to.
attempts to. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, it would.
And the
have to.
hound's attack bonus is equal to your spellcasting modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay. Well, a 16 almost hits. So we'll say, yeah, it's trying to chomp down, but whatever the analog of skin is for this thing is kind of tough and chewy, and it's been.
I think it
given
should
one
get a
of those
bonus for being inside the mass.
One would
I
think.
see what you're.
It's going to have a hard time missing.
It didn't get past the DR.
It has to tilt its head in a certain way, but the tentacles are right next to its head, so it has to slide around. And however, that will apply to Sori because Sori can cast spells through second Sori.
Yep.
So any touch spells are fair game right now.
It's just sort of going yaw, yaw, yaw on a tentacle like it's a chew toy.
Smallest Kep believes that the ghost doggo is doing an excellent job. It's exactly what Smallest Kep would be doing, and just as effective as what Smallest Kep would be able to do.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Long
Ellie, this
Kep
GIF. Please continue with Long Kep.
points the staff of fire at the mass, makes a shooing motion with their other hand, and attempts to hit it with a glob of fireball.
Okay.
It seems very large, so I'm sure I can aim for a 20-foot area that doesn't catch.
I was going to
Bukkake.
say,
You point straight down at your feet and say, well, this will definitely hit the monster too. You do not do that. And with an 8, it somehow does not manage to make a dexterity saving throw. That's a lot of dice. That's 25 points of damage. Let's apply that. Also, as a note, I do appreciate that they have a little button down there that I didn't notice previously called refund resource. So if
Which
you...
I accidentally clicked and then had to unclick.
and there's the that's a lot of fire gif again. I've missed that gif. I've missed that.
It was actually, I think, a slightly below average amount of fire.
Still
it's
the
a
most fire we've
little
seen
above
today.
average.
Now I'm thinking of like Wobegon's stories where
Yeah,
all the women are strong, all the men are
average
good
on-
looking, and all the
and
fireballs
all the kids.
are above average. In this case, the fireballs.
Average on 8d6 is 24.5.
Okay. I would also add.
Oh, so it is. I didn't see that there was a 5 in there.
So last turn, the menagerie didn't do anything. But if I might point out, they are on the ship that has ballista.
They will attempt to man a ballista. I can't move them, though.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna.
Oh, I can
Nope,
move
you
them. My thing was just on the wrong
Fighting with
setting
Foundry is already
somehow.
checked off.
Yes.
All right. So, that's going to be because I will not give an undead bargain minotaur proficiency in siege weapons. That's a slippery slope.
No, I
if
don't
I've ever
think
heard of
it
one.
does. I don't
please,
think it has that.
Please have your minotaur roll a dexterity roll.
Oh,
And that's our first crit.
Wow.
So that's
those
going
listening-
to be
It was a crit success.
I did have to come and look, yes.
Yes.
That's going to be 6d10 piercing damage. There's some
Oh,
10s in there.
that's
41.
what?
Wow.
That's a lot of damage. You're not going to slap tape on that.
Nice.
That's I'm pulling out a calculator to make sure I do the math right. Yes. Congratulations. The technically an NPC has just bloodied this thing.
Yay!
Not that you can really tell, except
Long
now there's
Cat
more.
is pleased with the Minotaur.
Smallest Kep might need some appeasing because Smallest Kep thought they were the favorite.
Oh, poor little guy.
Please doesn't necessarily mean not a favorite.
Bapaki,
Yes.
it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Panthers.
I do not believe you have summoned panthers. I do know someone who can summon a saber-toothed tiger, but they are on another planet right now. And also, we've learned that summoning a saber-toothed tiger does take all of your low rolls and siphon that karma into the saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
But thank you for the panthers reference. I really appreciated that, and I appreciate that technical difficulties is back on,
Yes.
and will have been for some time when this goes out. But never mind about that.
Yes, well.
So you're still flying. You are just below deck level.
I am going to go to within 5 feet of the thing. And as always, I'm going to shoot bullets at it.
By shoot bullets, dear listeners, I do want to point out Bapaki is using the short sword of shocking. No actual bullets are being used. And a 9
15
turns
will
into
not
15.
hit.
Alas, it does not.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Because you did get one of those.
I did.
Use your inspiration, people. It's
That's a
useful.
24.
A 24 definitely hits. It hits it a lot. Roll all of your damage.
I am going to roll that beautiful bean damage.
Be right back, making a short sword of beans. It's a sword, but it has a hidden compartment. It is full of beans.
Does that mean it's a very obnoxious attitudinal sword?
It's also covered in beans.
You're saying it's a
person-
beanie baby.
The person crafting the magical item was told that it should be covered in bees, but they misheard. Okay, I have applied that damage, and that was 11 points of short sword damage. And sneak attack, we got 14 points of sneak attack. I've applied that.
The 11 points of short sword damage includes 3 points of lightning damage.
Ah, wonderful. Okay.
And then I am backing off to next to Longcap.
Okay. Sorry.
Sori is going to cast
Hey, Long.
a spell.
Is that your first name? Long?
No,
Is it Cap?
I am Longcap. We only have a list of 12 names.
Oh, okay. All right.
Most
Sori.
clans have 20 names, but they lost a lot of the names in the incident.
Not
Sorry is
the
casting-
incident.
Yes. It's like
Spirit
noodling
Guardians.
Spirit Guardians. Because you want
Unfortunately-
to see more 5-headed dragon ghosts.
Sori loves them. They're cute. Unfortunately, Sori does not know that there is a hound there to exclude. So I have no idea what they're going to do to the hound.
It takes no
The
damage.
hound is immune to damage.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, in that case, everything's fine.
They might distract it.
Okay.
Sorry.
You call for spirits to protect you. They flit around. For some reason I misread that as flirt, and that's a different game. I'm not playing
Very.
that game. They flit around you at a distance of 15 feet for the duration, except they're not flitting around you, they're flitting around second story, which means
Yep.
area of effect is ranged. If you are good or neutral, a spectral form. Okay, we talked about that already. They're going to be 5-headed little Tiamat. Tiamat who?
What's a Tiamat?
Bingo card.
Yeah, that's for mine as well. Uh-huh.
I don't have a bingo yet.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
Where are
But
the bingo
Yes.
cards?
Memes and jokes.
Yes,
Oh.
it's pinned in memes
Go
and
grab
jokes.
one. Hmm.
It randomizes it when you click on the link, so everyone has a unique bingo card.
and when you click on the squares, it puts a little X on them.
Yes. But each bingo card does have a number, so if this was a game that was being played with a whole bunch of people, someone yelling bingo, the person running it could check the card ID to verify.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Regardless, I am going through this to make sure I am doing this right. When you cast a spell, you designate a number of creatures. An affected creature's speed is halved. This thing isn't moving. It's growing. That's not the same thing.
However-
creature enters-
When it enters an area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it gets to make a wisdom saving throw. So we get to discover how wise this thing is.
Yes. The thing I'm looking for is, do I make it make a save right now
I think you make it save on its turn.
on its turn? Okay.
That appears to be what that says, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's what we will do. So, it's
Mhm.
Monty's turn.
Actually, I have one thing to do with the bonus action.
Everyone check off before my turn is
Oh,
over.
before my turn is over.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Where's my
Better.
bonus action? Where's my bonus action? I have a bonus action. No, I
You're
have
gonna
a
cast
bonus.
spiritual
There
weapon.
it is. No, I don't have spiritual weapon. I didn't learn spiritual weapon. I'm healing Bapaki.
Yay!
It's only a first level one, but I'm going to heal Bapaki for a first level. Configure my roll. Blah blah blah.
Oh, I have the
blah.
same thing on this bingo card twice.
Yes,
I do as well.
yes.
Yeah,
There's
the
one of
free
them that has.
space
Same one.
has a duplicate that is
Yeah.
randomized as well.
Yeah.
I will
But
move
to be honest,
to
that one
touch
happens
Bapaki
often
if I
enough.
have
It
to.
should be on there twice.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
It's a
that's the
reference to
joke.
itself,
Oh,
and it's about referencing.
so now we've referenced it, so we can tick it off, right?
We're not 90%
Yes.
references to other games, though.
Yet.
Not
Yeah.
tonight.
I think we got valuable service here.
I haven't said that yet.
Did we?
Oh,
No.
all right. I thought Ellie said that. Maybe I just. Never mind.
Ellie has said that. Ellie has said that. Just not tonight. All right. So now it's Monty's turn.
Yes.
Monty grumbles something about senses of humor being subjective anyway. Rummages again in his hat of holding and is not going to
Apparently
cast this
cast
twice.
several firebolts.
No, you go away. Not you. You can stay. You're okay. I am trying to this interface. I try to mouse over a thing and then it goes away. He pulls out a little bit of a spell component. I was trying to look up what the spell component is for Firebolt, but I can't be bothered right now because it's being mean to me. And is going to make an attack roll. Well, that 4 turned into a 16 because high level NPC. However, a 16 is not high enough. Somehow, Monty misses the giant mass of tentacles.
There is a beautiful new comet.
Inspiration is back. And also check off 90% references to other games. I will name it
But
Monty
he didn't roll in that
Star.
one.
No, it wasn't a nat one. It would have to be a nat one
No.
for it to be Monty's star. It doesn't actually get into orbit, but it looks like it might. I'm going to say it actually does connect with the mass, but it ricochets off. It wasn't a straight-on hit.
Concerning.
Yes. Well,
Somehow
that
it
was...
hits the pile of bones that was Lefty.
Oh!
What?
Oh no.
No! Actually, I would say canonically, Lefty's probably below deck.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yes,
you
I
wouldn't
was
have...
being silly.
Yeah. Okay. I was a little worried. Oh my gosh, that GIF. No.
Yep. Not gonna say anything
Why?
about it, but yep.
Anyway, that was Monty's turn because casting a spell is an action. It is Maury's turn. Maury is also going to heal Bapaki because when this thing first appeared, Maury thought, I'm going to probably need to use most of my spell slots for healing people and is not going to go away from that. So we're going to cast Cure Wounds, 2nd level. And that is 13 points of healing for Bapaki.
Neat. Thank you.
Okay. It is the malformed mass's turn. It is starting its turn surrounded by little fairy Tiamats. I believe now I have to make a wisdom saving throw for it.
Oh.
That's a 17. It makes the save.
Barely.
Yes, but still makes the save, which means it's going to take
Half
half
damage.
So please roll for damage. And I have a little button I can press to say, do half of this.
13. Half of 13.
Rounded down is 6. But it does take the damage. Utashi, you are at the top of a crow's nest, and you have a crossbow.
Yes. I have a crossbow. So I'm
This
gonna
thing
shoot
doesn't
that
have
thing
ropes, but it would be on them if it had them.
again. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do the crossbow thing.
Okay.
Attack. See how it goes.
That is
Oh, no,
a
very good.
nat 1.
Oh, Phil.
Jen,
Yes.
Jen, what
Yeah.
goes wrong?
What goes wrong? Okay. I think she lined up the crossbow to try to hit this big thing, and then a shiny fell out of her pocket, so she went to reach it and accidentally shot off anyway, and it didn't work.
You look down.
I
As you look
guess.
down, you have the crossbow point down at the same time. You have now shot an arrow through the floor of the crow's nest.
Oh.
It is sticking out of the deck behind Maury.
Oops, sorry.
Maury has several judges holding up numbers for her high jump attempt.
Oh my.
The Russian judge has given the lowest score by several points.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's her turn then.
All right. We are back up to Longcap. I believe there is still a good doggo. Oh, I didn't make this thing grow. It was
Indeed.
supposed to grow again.
Oh!
Oh my.
Yeah. But I can do this while we have a roll for a good doggo.
If I can find the good doggo.
A
And I'm
21
going to
is
put
gonna
the
hit.
thing in the thing again. I am not obviously
casting it again, but
recasting it. I
yes.
just want the...
You don't want to have
You
to
want on
scroll up
top.
for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is an above average amount of damage.
Nice.
Io, how does your invisible pink bone dog do this?
Well, it's coming out of a Terran reality, right?
Yes. It shoves it back in and says, you stay where you are.
No. But, well, it's sort of doggy paddles in the tentacular sludge and chomps it down on the part of it that was pushing. And it gets a little bit stuck. The tentacle creature, I mean. Because this dog is very small, it's probably, compared to it, it's probably not going to do vital, massive damage. But once the thing gets stuck, it maybe it writhes around a bit, trying to pull itself through in another
like this.
way,
And something starts to tear.
and something starts to tear.
The dog doesn't let go. It's got a good bite. It didn't get the good bite last time, but dag nabbit, it's got it now. It's holding on, not for dear life, because, it's holding on for dear unlife. Dear invisible pink unlife. And the tentacle tries to pull away. It doesn't know what's going on, but knows it doesn't like it. As it pulls away, things start to tear. And then it tears more and it tears more. It's like a rip in those, like a cellophane style bag where once it starts to tear, it's just never going to stop tearing. And physics is weird with this thing. It doesn't follow your physics. It's got its own physics. Thank you very much. But in its physics, it's like a Mobius strip. The tear goes through all through the tentacles. Every single bit of this thing starts to split apart. And there's a sort of a sploosh sound as bubbling ichor just like rains down everywhere this thing had been. It's a good thing that Second Story is technically an illusion. So Second Story is pristine. But everything else in this giant space around the tower is not. Everything is purple and chunky.
So
and
does that
is a
description...
Hmm?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Please continue.
Purple and chunky.
Purple
Well,
and chunky.
yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things on my bingo card here is XP awarded to the GM because that was a really neat description. So
Yes.
We should award XP to the GM.
yes.
All right.
That's what it says.
Okay. Now here is the problem.
Mhm.
You hit the part of this thing that was coming through the portal. You have destroyed the part of this thing that was coming through the portal. But you still see the space above the tower that was at first just looking like a darkened mass where you thought it was storm clouds, but they weren't. You still see that there, and it is starting to roil a bit more. And just as you think, well, we can stay and deal with this, or we can stay on this ship and go somewhere else very quickly. I'm not going to say which of these decisions your character's rooting for. I have some educated guesses, but I'm not going to say which one. But as that list of choices is appearing in your brain, a beam of light comes down from above the cloud layer. No, wait, it's not a beam of light. Is that an exhaust plume? It's, well, that's an impact. Physics are being applied. The sides of the tower fly out in all directions. A few bits of rubble hit the side of the ship, not enough to do damage. You are covered in a light layer of stone dust.
Sorry, ducks.
Atashi sneezes.
Whatever hit the tower very clearly went down into the basement where that machinery was. And you don't think that machinery is there anymore, or at least physics have been applied to it in a way that they were not designed to have physics applied to it. Alas, whatever notes you did not take with you were probably also obliterated in this impact. But that roiling fades, and then a large metal clawed hand reaches up out of the crater that used to be the basement. Technically, well, I was going to say it's a larger basement now, but now it's technically the ground floor. This large hand reaches up, grabs onto the side, and pulls up what appears to be a 10-foot tall robotic kobold. Clearly a kobold. It's got a tail.
Oh, neat.
Wave.
Pocky flies over.
Okay. But Pocky, as you fly over, give me a perception check. This is not a very high perception roll.
Assuming that spell is still active.
Not much time has
That's a good
happened
question.
since the spell was cast. So unless Longkep is breaking concentration, you can fly. Oh, a 22 easily does this. If you hadn't had any bonuses, the 15 would have also easily did this. This giant robot kobold has a monocle.
Blink.
That sounds like it should be familiar.
And you hear a voice coming through a speaker. Oh, hello, survivors! I didn't know there were any. The chest of the suit opens up, and you see a somewhat scarred but recovering Sniv Stonetail.
Oh.
I told you.
I have been maintaining this entire time that turned into physics was too simple an explanation for Sniv Stonetail.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. So
I-
hi.
I thought the entire ship had been destroyed. Apparently it wasn't. Anyway, I found some
I
nice...
thought you were like
I found some nice
particles.
friends. Did you know that there are robotic kobolds here named kobots? I found a whole cohort
Yes,
of them.
we
They
did.
built me this cool robot suit. Isn't it great?
How are you alive? I thought you were turned into light.
Did you
Also, most of the
teleport?
ship was destroyed,
Uh-huh.
but I have this ability that lets me dodge area of effect attacks.
Ingenious.
I just fell a lot.
Well, as it turns out, we were no slouches when building those angel ships. The helm has the ability to act as an escape pod.
Neat.
I wish it had triggered a half second
Oh.
sooner, but I survived. I was just very badly burned.
Mellow to
God.
self.
I am glad that we did not have to find a cleric that could cast True Resurrection.
Well, we need to
Oh,
find
that
everybody
wouldn't be too
else's
hard at all.
bones.
As Sniv is saying, "Oh, that wouldn't be too hard at all," Monty is like "Ixnay," and doing a whole like finger across the throat thing. It's like, "Yo, cut that off. Cut that off." I mean, well, yes, I'm so glad you didn't have to do that. Anyway, you wouldn't happen
I
to
was
know if
going
there
to
were any
Yeah.
survivors,
level a
would you?
lot.
You guys, your buddy at the forge is gonna want to see him, right? Especially with the other kobots.
Yes.
There's another forge,
Uh-huh.
and that's where we're going to end it for tonight.
Okay. That was fun.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Tonight, I was joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Beth, Ellie, or Ely, if you are listening to this around Halloween, because that is Ellie's Halloween name. And I keep having to stop myself every
I
time.
heard that hesitation.
Every single time, EO. And for the second half, Jen,
Mhm.
who wants to plug a thing?
I'm going to tick off this thing on the bingo card. Eo's mom writes books.
There it
Yes,
is,
that
yeah.
a bingo card.
Everyone can tick it off on the bingo card now. At elizabethmccoy.com, and their ebooks, and they're real cheap for libraries generally, like under about $5-6, which is real cheap for libraries. So the library gets it. I get money so that I can help people out and get my cats treats and that kind of thing. And you get the free Libby app on your phone or something, and you read it for free. And it's all legal and wonderful, and everybody's happy. And speaking about books that make people happy,
That'd be me, right?
yes, that'd be you.
Okay, so one of my websites is bookofjen.net, I think, and it's just got a bunch of stuff on there, totally different random topics, stuff with video games, all that kind of thing. Whenever I have the energy, I put more stuff up there. You can find it at bookofjen.net. I'm also the host of the Shattered Soulstone podcast, which comes out generally every Saturday, with the exception of when I got really sick for like a month. But I'm better now. So that one's over at shatteredsoulstone.com, and I'll be putting up a show whenever I get the energy again.
And speaking of websites,
Well, if you like this podcast, you can find many more like it, or not like it at all, because, some...
but this
some of
one is
them are-
yours.
Yes, but this one is yours. Some of the
Yes.
podcasts will have things like capybaras in them, and
Yes.
superpowered teenagers going bowling, or You know, tieflings escaping an orphanage to buy candy. Or
Oh, that was fun. I
I-
remember
yeah, that was very
Actually, I believe the plural is capybarae.
Capybara.
Capybarum.
Well, that's the singular. The singular. Okay. Either the singular is
Eo and
capybara
Ellie both have
and the-
inspiration.
and the plural is capybarae, or the singular is capybarum and the plural is capybara.
I should have seen that coming. I should have seen it coming because it is a running gag for us.
But what if
Specifically-
it's capybara to capybarum?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
If you like this banter, you can find many more podcasts that include banter like this at aaronbsmith.com/cogwheel. There, I got it out. You can also follow us on the Fediverse. That is at aaronbsmith.com/@cogwheel, and you can
And you
support us
can
on
pay
Patreon.
us to make more of these.
Yes, because
sorta.
every hobby is a bottomless pit that we try to fill with money. So why
Yes.
not give me your money to put into the bottomless pit? That is server hosting. By going to patreon.com/cogwheelgaming and joining other illustrious patrons, including Ellie, Shen, Walter, Liv Droman, and patron emeritus Cindy. And until next
And
time.
until next time, that's Crash saying,
Wait, Monty, you weren't on the ship. Oh, I've got so much to tell you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
good night.